Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we are going to be tackling the question of can the Flood still drive vehicles in Halo 3 at all? So, as you guys probably remember, in Halo 2 on the mission Quarantine Zone, throughout the whole mission, you'll see several cases of Flood, all kinds of Flood, human and elite combat forms, driving vehicles, and quite a variety of vehicles too. You see them driving ghosts, you see them driving warthogs, using the turrets even, and they all, drive vehicles pretty well. You never see them drive air vehicles, but, land vehicles, it seems like they all can handle it fine. Maybe in the future we could see if Flood can drive air vehicles or not, but that's another topic for another day. But, Quarantine Zone was basically the first and the last mission in the entire Halo series where we see the Flood use vehicles. Before that, in Halo 1, they never used vehicles, and then in Halo 3, they also were never seen using vehicles. But can they still use vehicles? Are they just scripted to not get into vehicles simply? Well, to figure that out, I modded myself to play as a Flood on Halo 3, and as a Flood we can see if we can actually drive vehicles or not. And so far, as you can see, we don't get any prompt to drive a vehicle when we walk up to them. At least with UNSC vehicles so far. Normally, if you're up close to the vehicle, you should have a prompt that says hold B to drive vehicle, or get into the passenger seat, or use the turret. But in this case, no vehicle am I able to drive it, or use the gunner seat, or any of the passenger seats at all as the Flood. However, the only thing I can do so far is if someone's already driving the vehicle, I can ask them to get out. At that point, it will have the prompt to say hold B to get in the driver's seat. But after they get out, I cannot get into the driver's seat at all. I can, even the Scorpion passenger seat, even though it doesn't actually give me the option to get into passenger seat, I can still force the passengers off. But that's the only interaction I can do in this case as a Flood. No matter what, I cannot drive the vehicle. And it's pretty much the same with Covenant vehicles as well. I can't board them, even if they're enemies, I can't hijack them, I can't jump on them or anything, and if I manage to get them out of the driver's seat, I still can't drive the vehicles. And that applies to turrets, aircraft, land vehicles, UNSC, or Covenant. None of them can be driven as a Flood. So unfortunately, the answer is no. In Halo 3, the Flood physically cannot drive vehicles at all. It's not like Halo 2 where they can, but they're not always scripted to. In Halo 3, they literally cannot drive vehicles at all. And the reason why that's the case is because they literally lack the animations to do that. So in Halo 3, a character, any biped, can only perform a certain action, like pick up weapons, fire weapons, drive vehicles, use turrets, etc. They can only do that if they actually have the animations for it. And in Halo 3, the Flood literally lacked the animations to drive vehicles or get into passenger seats or use turrets. And without that, they physically cannot do that. The only vehicle seats they can access are the boarding seats, and which means they have to be enemies for me to board them. And that only applies to warthogs. The Flood can only board warthogs in Halo 3. They could board all the seats on the Warthog, the gunner seat, the passenger seat, and the driver's seat, but they cannot board any other vehicles. So that is why I had to betray Marines here to get them to turn against me, and once they turn against me, then I could board them. And technically, boarding them, it's, as far as the game code is concerned, it's an actual seat on the Warthog. So you may be thinking the Warthog has 3 seats on it. Technically, it has 6 seats on it. 3 for, actual passengers and drivers and gunners, and another 3 for boarding. Oh, and also, classic example of Marine driving right there in Halo 3. Classic Marine driving. But, anyways, so that's basically the only vehicle seats that a Flood can get into, which is boarding it, and only on the Warthog. No other vehicle can the Flood board or use the boarding seats. Now, pretty much every vehicle has a boarding seat on it for, Spartans and Elites to board and Brutes to board, but those seats are not available for the Flood to board. Or rather, the Flood any form of the Flood, human, elite, or brute combat forms, they all simply lack the animations to use any other boarding seat except for the ones on a Warthog. So that's basically why the Flood in Halo 3 cannot drive or ride in any vehicle except for the Warthog, and only in the case of boarding it as an enemy. So there you guys have it. That's the answer to can the Flood still drive vehicles, and in this case, why they can't drive vehicles anymore, unlike in Halo 2. Hopefully, you guys did find this video to be interesting, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Anything else you want to check out or look into, just let me know. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.